Hello, everyone. Here we are again. One more time, we're coming to you because we want to talk about our magazine. But I do have our coach, Becky, here. Becky, thank you for coming today.
Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
Yes, and including Coach Becky has contributed an article to our magazine. The February issue is called Learning, Living, and Leading. Those of you who have been following me, it was called Parenting, Learning, and Living. Now that we have expanded it to serve every person of every age, any stage. So we have now expanded our magazine to include learning, living, and leading. That's the new name of our magazine. It comes out every 2 months. So the next one will be April 15th. We have the February 15th. If you haven't read it yet, there are some amazing, amazing articles for you to read, including Coach Becky's article. And I included a link under this video for you to go there and find this magazine. It's free. So if when you go to that link, it will ask for a password. If you put in the word flow, all capital letters, FLOW, you can access this issue as well as all the other issues we've been putting out for the last year and a half. So you have it for free. There's a lot of resources in here. They're not just general advices. They are things that we've lived through because all of our coaches are either a teacher, administrator, or a coach previously, or a principal, right? Principal and counselors are part of our group. So these are people that they've been in the system, they've seen everything. So when they write from pure experience, not just theory but experience that they lived from. So there are some resources in here that will serve so many parents or anybody who is trying to learn, live, and lead. So welcome, Coach Becky. So before we get started, we know the routine. We have to come here and now, right, Coach Becky?
Yes.
Because
Yes, yes.
without it, we're where are we usually? In the past.
Yes. In the
We
past,
usually go,
stuck.
yeah, stuck in the past, or we go to the future thinking that's where we should be. But if you look at both of my hands, if I'm both distracted in the past or forwarded into the future, I'm not here and now. But we all know here and now is the only place that's real. And this is the only place we can get anything done. We can create here. But if we're in the past, we're recreating, right? We're replaying. Sorry, we're replaying. If we're in the future, we're recreating.
Right.
Usually, because why? Because we're projecting the past. We most of the time project the past and recreate the future. We don't let the future to come to us, right? We don't let it evolve and come to us. We usually project the past to recreate from the past experience. So what can we do with these two hands? If they're here, I can't do anything in the now. So what can I do with my past? I can just let go. I have to let go. Yes, just let it go. Blow it away, throw it away, let it go. But before you let go, make sure to take the lessons, because that's why we lived through those past experiences, right? Because there was lessons. So we can take the lessons, but we should never replay them and get stuck, because this hand is wasted if you do that, right? If we do that, we all do it. Now, in the future is available to all of us, but if we keep focusing on the future, especially with the lens of the past, we're now again recreating something that we don't even want. If you don't want it, why would we waste time thinking about what we don't want, projecting the past, right? So why don't we just let the future come to us? It's there for all of us. We know it's possible. Now something is coming to us, it's there. So why don't we just bless it and release it so that when it's time, it'll come to us instead of wasting time recreating it through the lens of the past. So when I do that, if I let go and if I release, look, my hands are free. My two hands are free, right? Coach Becky, our hands
Yes.
are free. Now I can bring it here. Now I can bring it here. Now I'm centered. I'm right here. You're right here. Here, from this place, we can live, we can learn, we can lead ourselves and others. This is the only place we can do that from. Everywhere else, we cannot do that from. So that's why we need to come here and now. So you're here and now. Now, what do you do, Coach Becky, to bring yourself here and now further? Even though the thoughts are here, but sometimes our body's not here. So how can I bring everything here?
We do breathing
Yes.
exercises to kind of ground us.
Do you have anything your favorite?
Yes. I
Tell
have
us.
several. But I think the one that I use the most and the one I used just a few moments ago is the 444.
Beautiful.
4. I think there's
Awesome.
four
Four,
fours.
four, four, four.
Yes.
Okay. There's four fours. Okay. Let's do it. So inhale for four, right?
Hmm.
So let's inhale for four. Hold for four. And then we're going to exhale for four, letting go through your mouth, right? And that last four is holding it at the bottom, right? Don't breathe it yet. Just hold it without breathing. Four. Now inhale for four. Hold for four. And exhale through your mouth, letting go everything and anything, any worry, any stress, any fear, anything. Just let it go through your mouth and then let everything leave your body. And then hold it at the bottom without breathing for four. Now inhale for four. Hold for four. And now let go everything. Don't hold it. Ooh, everything, whatever you don't want, let it go, everything. And hold at the bottom for four. Perfect. Now we're here. I feel here. How about yourself, Coach
Oh,
Becky? Are
yes.
you here? I think so.
Very relaxed.
Awesome. It's so important to be relaxed because life is supposed to be relaxed, right? Not as our magazine said, we don't need to try hard or harder.
No, not at all.
No.
I think that's where people get lost. Is they're
Yes.
always trying to do more and more.
Yes. So I wanted to ask today is all about your article that you contributed to the magazine. So I want to ask you about from there. Sometimes if our viewers are watching, if you don't understand where I'm getting these questions from, it's from her article. And if you haven't read it, you have to go to the link below this video and you have to see the magazine and all the rest of the articles. As I said, the link is below. There is a password that's flow. And if you put it, you get it for free. So that's where all the questions are coming from. So let's start, Coach Becky, with the first question I have for you. When you say the system was on repeat, what did the repeat feel like in your body?
Oh, that's a great question. So when it's a feeling in you, so it's almost like you're stuck in the same position. There's no relaxation. It's almost like it's constant chaos because you're just doing the same thing over and over and over, and nothing's getting better. Nothing's
Mhm.
changing. You're still in the same chaos as you were earlier because you haven't changed anything.
Mhm.
So,
Yes. So how does that make you feel in your
uh,
body? Like just stuck feeling? Like I'm tied? Like is it like tied and
yes,
stuck?
my
Cage?
chest is tight. My chest is tight. My brain is foggy, or there's a lot going on in my brain. Um, a, attentiveness. There is no attentiveness. I'm just in a almost like you're in a daze, but it's that tightness right here in my chest. Not everybody gets it there. Some people get it in their head. They start getting headaches from the stress or in the back of their neck.
Yes.
For me, it's definitely just a lot of tightness in my chest area.
Yeah. So you weren't breathing then if the
No,
tightness was there. It was
right.
hard to breathe, even, right? Yeah. So was there a specific moment in that hallway when you realized you were also in the loop, not just the student or the person you talked about in the article?
Yes, there was a day when this particular boy returned. So he had been arrested several times. I worked in a juvenile detention center. I was a supervisor over over the actual detention center, and he would come in and he would go through the system, and I'd take him around, and he'd get released a couple of days later, and here he comes again, and I'd have the same speech, and it seemed like he was really getting it. And then
Mm,
he'd come in with uh, his crimes were going from petty crimes. He was starting to get a little bit
Higher.
more bold in what he was doing. So his crimes went from a misdemeanor to a felony.
Mm.
And I was like, I thought we had a conversation about this. I thought we were doing good. And he says, I really just don't understand, but I, I can't help it. And my thought was, yes, you can. You can help it. You have
Mm.
control. But he really couldn't help it. There was so much going on, and his system wasn't ready. He
Yes.
wasn't ready for it. So,
Yes. You described it as a dance.
yes, absolutely, yes. And
What
it
role
was.
were you, right? What role were you unconsciously committed to playing in this, the dance?
Uh, in the dance, I thought I was the instructor, but I was really just a little puppet in the show. I thought I was really honestly helping him. I thought I was, the instructor for this dance. I was going to teach him how to do a new dance, but the dance kept forming back into the same routine. And between the two of us, he would respond the way he knew I wanted him to respond. And then
Mm.
I was calm and I was happy with it till the next time he came. And I was like, "I thought we'd had worked on this." He said, "Me too." But it didn't help. So, that it was just constant and just breaking down, watching this child break down every time he came because he honestly felt bad for what he was doing, but he really felt like he couldn't control what he was doing. But
Yes.
there was a way. Um, I just didn't know it at the time. So,
Yeah. So you were doing everything you can. I mean,
yes.
that's that's what we do as parents too, right? We always say, right, our parents did the best they knew at that time, right?
Mhm.
Like and
Absolutely.
anyone always, every one of us only can do what we knew at the time, the best
It's
of what we knew at the time.
yes, and that's I when I talk to students who are upset with their parents, that is the first thing I let them know. Your parents are doing what they know how to do. Like we only know how to raise our children because of how we were raised, and
Yeah.
we can choose to raise our children the same way or totally opposite.
Yes.
But we don't have a manual. There's not a book, special book for parenting.
Unless there's influencers or someone out there saying this is the only way to parent, and then they're so loud that everybody thinks that's the only way to parent.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
sometimes louder means proven, right? But it's not.
Right. Right.
That's what we stand against is don't ever take generic advice from anyone and think that's going to work for your family or your child, because your child is unique, you're unique, your family is unique,
Yes.
all of them are unique, right? So yeah. So if somebody pulled you aside that day and said you're not helping him, how would you have reacted back then?
I think I would have maybe scoffed at them like, "Yes, I am. I've done this, and this for him." Uh, I think I would have maybe argued. I have. What do you mean? I've done everything. Look at all
Mm.
these wonderful things I've done. And in actuality, it wasn't what that child needed. It wasn't it wasn't what would thrive for them.
Yes.
It was just that vicious cycle.
Yes. Looking back, who was more exhausted, him or you?
I think me. Yeah, there's no question. Probably me. Um, but just for the simple fact that
You were trying.
it hurt me. Like I was more invested, I think, in him than he was into himself because he knew he was going back to the same lifestyle. He was just surviving and just going in his little, a roundabout circle, doing whatever it was that he could do to survive.
Yes.
And I was wanting so badly for this child to rise from where he was to be a better version of himself. But I, we were just, well, the dance.
Yes.
I thought I was doing a good thing, but I was not teaching him anything. I had expectations for him. They were high expectations, but I wasn't teaching him. I wasn't showing him. I wasn't giving him space. And I think that was the big thing when I learned to step back and just really allow him to be him and then take his situation and say, what can we do with what you have,
Yes.
where you're at?
So
So,
now stepping into becoming a holistic neurogrowth success coach, right? You see from that lens, when you realize you were trying to install a high level software into a system, into a system in a house on fire, right? Like
yep.
his those were your words, right? What
Yes.
shifted inside you first when you
The
realized?
shift, so the shift was inside me. I had
Yeah.
to realize what I was doing. And I think it was when we did the limiting beliefs.
Mm,
When I went through my own courses and seeing where I can become a better person, it was like a light bulb came on for me. Oh, well, that's why so and so couldn't do what he needed to do. I couldn't do what I needed to do
mm,
because I mean, I was there, I was ready, I was willing, but there was just, I was doing it in, I was trying to do it as if I was, let's say, you in your format, but you're different than me and you grew up different than me and you have different
mm,
needs than me. Your chaos, I mean, these young kids that were coming in were, they were just all over the place and they needed something to bring them down. I
mm,
thought I was the down, but really internally I was in chaos. I didn't
mm,
look like I was in chaos, but I
mm,
was because I had all these beliefs that weren't true, these things that I
mm.
needed to change in myself. So I
Yes.
think that was that moment where I was like, "Oh, well, I I can do this because I've been there. I know
Mm,
exactly how they feel." And now I can kind of guide someone to their unique way um, of calming down, of the way that they need to be for themselves. So
yeah, beautiful. How did that realization change the way you saw bad behaviors?
I now, even this school year, I notice that I will talk to a kid that I can see. Well, actually, I have a group of kids that the past teachers told me what they were like.
Mm,
And so when they came into class, I don't see them that way because I see a kid who has a lot of energy. So I give him space for that energy, or I give him something to fidget with. The other one needs to talk. I put him over here where he can talk to me more often and ask me more questions. So I think for in the classroom, which is where I am the most, I can see ways to work with the kid instead of like I'm going to put him over here and tell him to just to be quiet.
mm,
I actually give him some space to where he can be who he is and be his personality. And if he needs to get up and stand up in the back of the room, if he needs to um, uh, like get rid of some of that energy, I can help him with that. And bad is relative too, because what I consider bad, someone else doesn't consider bad. To me,
yeah,
bad is throwing a desk. I don't have children that throw desks. Um, Challenging are the ones that don't let you teach. They
mhm,
decide to talk during that. So for me, that's what they were. They weren't what these other teachers claimed they were for me. But I also have had some really good conversations with the boys telling me, thank you for allowing them. What do you mean I'm not going to get written up? No, we're going to work through this. We have a plan. One of them, I tap his desk when he needs to get back on focus. I don't need to call his name and tell him to get back onto focus. I just tap his desk. The other one, I tap his elbow. So they've told me what they want from me, where there's not a
verbal.
focus on them.
Yeah,
It's
verbally, you're not calling them out or say, sit down, do
correct.
your work, stop your
Correct.
behavior, don't do that, get back to focusing.
Yes.
The auto, like you correct them all the time, then it becomes so
Yes.
annoying to even hear the voice, right? Like that's why some kids don't even like certain words. If they've been
Yes.
told so many times, they don't like it.
My anxiety kids, the same thing for them. I have to give them space for their anxiety and to let them process that whatever's going through, whether it's test anxiety or thinking that they don't understand what the skill that we're working on. I have to give them that space. We even do breathing in class. We do the breathing to calm down right before we take a test. Um,
Mm.
my anxiety kids, that really helps them. The ADHD kids, it really helps them. So it kind
It
of
helps
just
everyone.
brings
I mean, it helps
them.
everybody, right?
Yeah,
Breathing helps everybody. Like we
yes,
just did it, and even this meeting started off so much pleasantly because of the
yes,
breathing. Right? It made it easy for all of us, right? It always makes it easy for all of us. So,
absolutely.
but we
Yeah.
don't use it. We don't use it as much.
No, we
Breathing.
don't. Not like we should. Not, and I think we forget about it sometimes. And it
Mm.
should be, it's not very comfortable either. A lot of people, that's because it's new. It's especially when they start doing it, it feels weird. It feels awkward. And
Mm.
then the more you use it, the more you realize how much it helps. So,
Yes. So going back so you're a teacher, and before you were a teacher and you had a different lens on, now you have a different lens. You're saying, like, the one I heard the most today, like you're saying, I give them space, I give them space, I give them space. Now in a classroom, somebody might say we don't have that type of time to give space,
but,
but you're making it though because you see the value of it, right?
hmm, yes,
Because
you
there's
have to.
tremendous value in something, you got to make time for it because we can't just ignore it because the space is where everything becomes um, calm and able to create. Otherwise
Yes,
it's chaos. Otherwise we're just creating chaos, right?
yes. And they're not, they're stuck there. If I don't allow them to have that opportunity to ground themselves or to open up and just not feel, I teach English. English is not everyone's favorite subject. So for my students who where English is hard, I have to allow them to process through whatever it is that we're working on that day. They're not going to learn or even remember the skills that I teach if
Mm,
it's just me barking information at them or
mhm.
spitting it out at them. They have to be ready to take in that information. And
Yes.
that's what our system forgets. Is they have to be
We don't ever
ready.
read. Yeah, we assumed they would be ready. There was an
Yes,
assumption, right?
yes,
What
yes.
else are they there for? They should be ready.
Right, right.
They came through the doors to the school and they sat down, so they should be ready.
They're an A student. They should be ready. They're very smart. They should be ready.
Ready,
Yeah.
yes, but they're not ready. I mean, how many of us could say easily that we were not ready? I mean, if we look back our childhood, if we were all of us were in school, right? How many of us can say that we were always ready? We were ready
No,
to go.
not me.
Not me.
Not
Not
me.
me either. Sometimes I forced myself to act like I was ready. I did.
I, I did. I was internal. I internalized everything.
Yeah,
And I had a great face
yeah.
to
Me
pretend like
too.
I knew what I was doing.
Me too. Yeah, everybody thought I was very, very busy with my work.
Yes. But
that's
I was,
that's the
hey,
that's
it was
the
chaos in here. Oh,
only if they could have, if somebody could just broadcast what was happening in our brain
they'd
while
be
they thought
scared.
we would be scared. Yeah, all the stories we were telling ourselves while we were in that state, it would be
Yes.
scary.
Yes.
Would be scary. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. So giving space is giving you space to
Hmm.
coach them. Basically, you're
Yeah,
coaching
right.
them already in the classroom. You're not teaching them anymore. You're coaching
Right.
them, right? Yeah, beautiful. So, did you grieve anything when you understood that discipline wasn't the issue?
Oh, that's a good question. I think For me, it probably all those people I could have helped that I didn't. So all the children, after I was a probation officer, I worked with mentally ill adults. I actually left to find out how I could help people with different disabilities or mental health struggles. And then I moved from there to education. So in those different for career for platforms, I don't think that I did my very best for them. Although some of them will tell me they know I did my best. But
We talked about that, right? We always do what we know best.
yes,
Yes.
but I do feel guilty, and I think that would be that death part of the guilt that I could have done more, and now I'm in a space to do more. Then that's what I want to do. I want to do it for everyone, of course.
Yes.
Um, but I do grieve that a lot, and I grieve the wasted time that I had, or the silliness of the self-esteem issues for myself.
Hmm.
Um, that I could have done this many years ago because it's been in me all these years. It's always what I wanted to do, but
Yes.
I always felt like I wasn't smart enough or and had enough expertise or those type things. And I had it the whole time,
Yes.
um, but I just didn't view it as that. That was one of my limiting beliefs that I had to get over.
Yeah. That's
So
that's the beauty of blocks, right? Blocks
yes.
are because you have it. That's why we say always say we everybody has the potential, right? They say you will bring out your full potential,
Mhm.
but the potential is always there. It's like
Yes.
potential energy is always stored. It's stored in here. We're full of potential, but the thing is we have blocks that
Hmm.
are in front of them to be moved into kinetic, which is the one that energy in motion. That energy in motion is what we can get to get momentum to achieve things, but we
Yes.
can't achieve things until the block is out of the way. But
Correct.
sometimes we don't even know those blocks are even there, and we
Yes.
don't even know how it's intertwined with other blocks, because blocks are not very one block blocking. It's usually there are multiple things that are tangled up together, how we created the story and where those stories came from, right? So there's deeper,
Right.
it's deep.
Right. Right.
That's why a lot of people ask me, explain to me how you coach somebody. I'm like, we have to know the whole story. It's not
Yes.
like explain to me how you coach somebody. Well, we have the 5A system. We take everyone through awareness, alignment, activation, acceleration, and achievement. But that journey for every single human is different.
Very different.
Different. There's
Hmm.
not one way. But everybody wants, like, anytime I'm talking, people always ask me, tell me that one way to do it for me. I said, I don't know anything about you yet.
Right.
I'm not sure where your potentials are blocked. When we figure that out, we can then help you to move you to acceleration, right? So yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you. So how many systems in our culture right now are are now rewarding compliance while ignoring readiness?
Mm. Are we talking about just our internal systems, or are we
No, I
talking
think
about
let me
like
rephrase that. Let
educational
me rephrase
system?
that. No, let me rephrase that, because
Okay.
you were in different parts of the, systems, right? You worked in different roles, right? That's probably why
Yes.
I got that question. But let me just rephrase. Let's just go back to the system you're in right now, the education system, right?
Okay.
So we are rewarding compliance, right?
Yes.
Compliance, getting the things done, right? But we're ignoring the readiness.
Correct.
So how's
Absolutely.
that working? Like, you see it every day. How is that
Um,
working?
it's not working. It's not working. I see students going backwards. The school system is designed for them to do better on each test. So I made an 80 this year. I should make it 85 next year. The year after that should be a 90. There should be improving each year. But there's this area of time where a kid, uh, for example, students who have parents with medical issues. I have several who have parents with cancer this year. I have one student and her brother, their parents are going through a divorce. So there's different things going on in their life, and they're going backwards. But the system is saying, "What's going on in that classroom? Why are you not moving that kid forward?" And they are not wanting to hear what's truly going on with that kid. And that student is stuck right now because they're just in a survival mode. They can't thrive in that because they're not ready to receive the information because of the things that are going on at home. And it's not necessarily anybody's fault that those things are going on at home, because things happen.
Mhm.
Life happens.
Yes.
But we're not giving those students the ability to pause for a moment to go into what needs to be done to be able to move forward. We just keep pushing them, and pushing them is not a form of support.
No.
Um, it just creates more, uh,
Anxiety.
yeah. It
Anxiety.
actually pushes them backwards. The
As
more
well.
I push them and call it support and say, "You can do it, you can do it, just go, go, go," I'm actually just pushing them back. Um, and it's not going to help them.
No.
And then the consistency, when you have forced consistency, that leads to burnout. Well, that would be the second part of education for the kid. The kid's burned out. So you
Yes.
have to reset. The teachers are burned out. The parent is burned out. There's all these different things. And then the stresses from their outside, their peers.
Yes.
So having all of those things, I'm not seeing readiness has to be first in order for me to be able to get the kids to where they need to go. And it just needs to be there. It's lacking.
Yeah. So what are the key conditions for readiness to emerge in your
Um, ooh,
I think
okay,
you said it
actually,
one already. One of them you already shared with us, which was you said space, give them space, give them
yes.
space.
I think that slowing down, well, that
Yes.
would be the space. Um,
No, but it's kind of different though. Spaces, their pace, we can go to their pace, right? They're pacing on their own
yes,
rhythm, right? We can find their
yes,
pace, but also we can give them space instead of being like
over
on
them,
them.
yes. But I
Give them
also
space.
think we need to listen to them in
Mm,
their because they learn differently, and they are so unique that I can't have this plan for Bob and Sue. It's got to be Bob's plan, it's got to be Sue's plan. And I think that it's Joe's plan. It's
mhm.
whoever created the the program or the curriculum or whatever. It's their plan, and maybe they don't understand the the things that kids go through, because I teach junior high. They have hormones that go along with all their other chaotic problems.
Yes.
And so you want to help them through those struggles, and you want them to know that just because I struggle with focus doesn't mean you can't be just as successful as someone else. Like the whole labeling. I know that I've spoken specifically about my students with anxiety and ADHD because we're adults and I can explain that. But as a kid, I don't ever want them to be labeled as, "Oh, you have ADHD, so this is blah 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 blah." I want
Mhm.
them to be able to say, I this is the way I think. I think differently than you, and so this is how I process information, and I can go from there."
Yes.
So
A lot of the time people ask me when we talk about readiness, they ask, this is like figuring out people's learning styles, right? So we've been caught up on the learning styles so much, right? Like we're kinesthetic or
yes,
this visual learner and all that. Yeah, that's all surface stuff, but this is more than that, because you just
yes.
mentioned one of the things that we never, like, very little, maybe in a biology class, if later in the high school level maybe they do a little bit, but have you ever gotten education on your hormone and how you grow up and how that affects you? I've
Nope.
never did. I never even knew what they were. I just thought I behaved this way and that way. When I got to be 12 and 13, I was grumpy some days and I was excited some days. I just thought, I'm such a crazy person is what I called myself. You know what I mean? I didn't think if somebody could have told me those are your hormones, I wouldn't have blamed myself all the time. But
And that's true because I was like, gosh, I'm such a quirky kid. I, I think so differently than everyone else that, my friends. And I kind of just tried to be normal, but it's not my forte to be normal, like what
yeah,
other people consider normal. So,
yeah. Like
I,
I thought I was moody. People thought I
yeah.
was moody. I was
Hmm.
snappy. Like, we have all these names, right? You're just snappy. You're just so moody. You're just irritable. But those are hormones. It wasn't
Right,
me.
right,
Why don't we get education on that? I mean, it's not that hard to tell us what our body's doing
right,
to be part of our curriculum. That could have helped all of us understand what we're going through, right?
right.
So,
Absolutely.
so readiness is not about just looking at it, oh, what's the style they're going to learn from? That's all surface. Like when it comes to learning, like that's why readiness starts with not even learning. It's nothing to do with learning. It's about knowing how
All
since
your
this
systems.
person is, yeah, is this body ready to learn?
Hmm.
Is this whole person ready to learn, right? And where
Yes.
are they blocked is the first part. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that gets me so angry that I don't know anything about my hormone until I was like later in my life. I had to figure it out the hard way, like most women do, right?
Yes. Yes. And it changes for us so much.
Yes. Yes. How can someone tell the difference between resistance and protection?
Um, well, protection is more, so protection for me, I feel like would make me feel safe, and resistance is something that's going to constantly not give me safety. So
Mm,
it's going to constantly be this thing that comes up against me, and I'm always having to like be here I am. I've got to protect myself, so I'm going to shut down. I'm going to fight. I'm going to whatever. For me, I was a withdrawal kid. I was more of the wall. I just would shut down and just leave me alone, and that was my protection. But and some kids, their their protection is the fighting, and so we look at that as a behavior, but they're just trying to protect themselves. But the resistance is just that thing that whatever it is, whatever the block or whatever is, that just keeps coming up against them, that they're not able to get past because they're not understanding what all of their brain and all of their systems and how they go together.
yeah,
Um,
beautiful. You explained that very well. So resistance is going to be something that triggers the protection because our nervous system is going to be fired when I resist something. That means that it's not. I'm resisting because it doesn't agree with me, right?
right,
Usually when I resist something, it doesn't go with my value system or it's against something that I'm not resonating with me, so I'm going to resist. So when I resist, protection goes up.
right.
So that's why we do all the fight, flee, and then freeze responses because I need to protect my system right now. I need to shut down here because this is now protection mode, right? So they
Right.
kind of go in hand because one gets sets off, the other one turns on. And now we need to protect, and that's why we see different behaviors of protection. Some people get
Yes.
angry, some people just shut down, some people just want to run away,
Hmm.
and some people just freeze. Yeah.
Yes.
So we want to see why those resistance are showing up and why are they looping, right? What's the pattern here?
And they loop in different ways because you can see all four of those protection modes in one person.
Yes.
Because you saying that, I was like, okay, well, I know when I feel like I need to fight somebody
Mhm.
is when I feel like I need to protect my children. So
Mhm.
I'm more of in a fight mode than when I feel like somebody's attacking me. I'm just going to take it because I don't want to ruffle feathers. But like I can see myself doing all four of them,
Yes.
and so I can feel like the kids will do that too, but then you have to realize what is the trigger for each one.
Yes.
And that's also a system readiness. You have to be understanding your OS, your operating system, and how you work and how you function as a person, your neurological, to be able to understand why are you reacting in the way that you do so that you can change that behavior.
Yes.
So,
Have you ever misjudged someone's lack of readiness for lack of care?
yes, I think that's um, lack of, yes, I think both. Um, I think there have been times where I thought a student was ready and they were not. And there were times when students were ready, and I think maybe I gave them too much. Like when I'm thinking about students in the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
where I was like, they're not ready. And then they were like, I really could have used this help. I was like, oh, I didn't know you were ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
So having that conversation with them, I see it better now. I can look at a kid and know that there's something going on that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll contact parents or whatever. But before that, it was just to have a back and forth with the student to try to figure it out. Now I can actually go into a classroom and say, here's what's going on, here's how we can fix this. And the students sometimes are ready, sometimes they're not, but they have to be in that mind space of understanding what they're doing and why they're doing it in order for them to move on. And I think that's the trick. And I do think that sometimes, even as a parent, I think about my daughter, the
Mm-hmm.
times where I kind of just blew her off on something. And she would come back to me, but 2 or 3 days later, and say, "Mom, let's talk about this again because I still don't feel like you've answered my question."
Mm-hmm.
And I was not thinking she was ready, and I was ignoring that at the time. I was stressed out, I was busy, whatever it was. Or just not thinking that she was, in, I'm not going to say intelligent enough, mature enough to handle what it was that was needed. And she has proven me wrong, every single time. She's been ready. And so it's been really, bonding for us to go through this together,
Mm-hmm.
because as a coach, I can now work with her, and um, her understanding of herself is just, it blows my mind of her, being
Beautiful.
able to know why and how she does the things that she's doing. And she's watching her be able to say, this is my trigger, and here's what I'm going to do to fix it, and then fixing it. And I'm just watching her bloom as a result. So the readiness is very important, very, very important.
Yes.
She wasn't
So,
ready before.
yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So, if we would change teaching, right, in the school system, if we could change teaching, even tutoring too, that readiness came as the first metric before results, because that's what we're for, right? We're in school
Yes,
to produce
absolutely.
results. But but if we change that to get the metric from readiness first, what would happen? What would
Oh
change?
gosh, the kids would soar. We these kids, not only would I, for example, you're a math person, I'm not. So if you were tutoring a math kid and they were ready, they were or would less likely need the science, history, and English tutor, because they would be able to process what's going on and be able to understand, or the questions to ask or the things to do. They're going to be less likely to need a tutor for that, because they can process and work through these strategies and say, this is what's going on with me, this is why this information's not sticking in my head. And leadership, communication with kids are struggling with being able to communicate. They know what they want to say, but they don't say it. What comes out their mouth, you think they're being very disrespectful, but it's really their only form of communication. They don't
What's
know how to speak to people, so
It's
they're not
frustrating,
really trying to be rude to an adult. They just don't know how to talk to them.
and also
uh,
frustration that they're not being understood.
mhm. Yes, that
Especially
too.
if
So I think it would change dramatically the culture of the schools. You see the behavior going this way, and I think that the behavior would start leveling out, and you start seeing less burnout from the kids and less burnout from the teachers having to deal with these different new types of um, behaviors that you see in the classroom that weren't there 5, 10 years ago.
Yes.
And I see it in the classroom.
Yes. So, as you said, I love how you started this call, right? When we started talking, you said give them capacity, space, like allow them that space, and their pace is respected. That they will start talking, they will start noticing, they will start then working on themselves, right? Because right now we're just telling them to do things, like they're almost like they're captive in the classroom and just do it,
Right.
go,
Right.
let's do it, let's get to
Yes.
the results,
Yes.
produce, earn. It's 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 not, they're not intrinsically doing anything, it's externally pushed and pulled,
Correct.
and that's not how they can function in the real world, you know. So it's sad that we're not teaching. The most important thing is how do they intrinsically do these things, right? Intrinsically want to learn, intrinsically accountable, intrinsically responsible, intrinsically motivated, intrinsically disciplined.
Right.
It's possible if they understand themselves.
Mhm.
So possible, right? So it's readiness can make all results skyrocket, as you said.
Yes.
It can just I mean it's the byproduct. You're going to have it results as a byproduct of all of this is the results in all aspects. Yes. So you said pushing felt like support. When did you realize that it was controlled, disguised as care or support? Because you were pushing,
Um,
right? Even the boy that we talked about earlier, you were trying to push him through, right? Just get
yes.
some sense into him. Yeah.
Well, that was the pushing is not being a form of support was something I had to unlearn. That's where I had to like back up, and it turned into care when the conversation turned to more listening than talking. I think as adults we tend to uh, give speeches to children.
Lectures, you mean? Lectures. Yeah.
Yes, and so they tune you out. But if you ask questions and just find out what's going on, like uh, I know some of the questions that I've been asked recently is, so how long has this been going on? How long have you felt this way? Those are even things that I asked my daughter, students in class. How long has this been going on? How long have you felt like this? And it just changes the dynamic of then it's a care, empathy, and then they feel safe, and then they feel protected, and then they feel like they can share, and then you can guide them because now their system has relaxed and calmed down, and they're not in a survival mode of this person's against me, they don't understand me. There's oftentimes they think no, they're all by themselves in how they feel and how they think because they don't know how to communicate what's going on inside of them. So I think it was just that time when it's just a shift. It's a parent shift. Just an adult shift. Adults need to shift to how we talk to the kids, and that will change the way that they start viewing the adult, the authority figure, and how they start responding to them.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So I want to talk to. We're coming to the end here. I want to talk to the audience and ask them some questions, and you can add to Coach Becky to this. Where might someone listening right now be trying to push growth before readiness? So where might be pushing? So let's talk to parents. Where might they be pushing their kids before readiness? Where do you think?
they're going to see resistance.
But where in their life
There's
would they be pushing? What kind of like I want them to connect to where they might push so they can become aware of like I'm pushing here. Maybe I should back up a little bit and not push my child. So where would they be pushing? Sometimes, if we think about schoolwork, homework is a
yes,
big battle, right? It becomes a
yes,
battle because we're pushing before they're ready. And some people might say that my kid will never be ready. That's the different type of ready, not ready to like sit with the pen and paper and ready and then let me go for it, right? That's not the ready we're talking about. They'll never be ready. But I'm talking about internally, this biological system being ready.
yeah,
That if they're ready, they'll actually come and do their homework on their own. You don't have to have a
correct,
back because
correct.
they're going to take care of it.
I think parents will see it at home in the conversation, like when you're talking about rules.
Yeah.
Parents tend to just say, but the rule is because I said so, without going into the reasoning for it. And it's this is my house, not your house. I make the rules. I pay the those type of comments. I think if we listen to our children and just in what they're wanting and come up with a kind of compromise, their friends, their after school activities. Some parents believe that their kids should be very active after school because that's going to keep them out of trouble. But in actuality, it may be causing your child to become overwhelmed. And that overwhelmingness is almost a burnout. And the burnout's coming across as your child snapping at you. But it could just simply be that you're pushing them in because you're wanting them to be successful, because that's what we do as parents. We want them to be better than us. And so
Yes.
we're pushing them in the wrong way. Chores around the house,
Yes.
um, attending certain events or services. If you're a parent and their parent is trying to get their child to go to a church service or something, I think you're going to see some resistance there when there's not that communication between the two. Um,
What about if they're a teacher listening to us? That a teacher would like pushing growth before readiness for them. It would be like some of the things you've already shared, right?
yes,
You thought you were doing the right thing by pushing the curriculum and getting them to go, 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 but eventually there was no result. They shut down, they resist, they
there's no relationship. I was expecting him to just use me as an authority figure because I was in his life, but I needed to build that relationship with him. And for teachers, that's going to be the key. The key is going to be building a relationship and understanding that each child is different. I, as a young teacher, I you teach one lesson and you hope all the kids get it, but in actuality, and what the one thing I can say the educational system's doing now is they're wanting it more individualized. They want you to diversitize your lesson plan. What are you going to do with this kid is struggling or this kid? That's the same thing as in the way that we respond to the kids on the readiness. We need to make sure that we recognize this kid, this one can move on and do this skill, but this one is way over here and they're not ready because XYZ. And so just being able to recognize that's where they are, and maybe they need a little bit of extra assistance, or maybe they need a little bit of breathing exercises or something to help bring them down just to get them started on whatever is going on for that day. Yes.
yes, absolutely. If someone feels stuck, what is the first thing they should start examining?
Ooh. Um, I would say it depends on what they're stuck on, but no. Um, I
Noticing, right? We can start noticing. We don't even have to go to a specific thing because first step is awareness. So it's good that you're feeling stuck, but then just be really like I was talking to another coach earlier. What I said was like we're always like we're able to pick patterns with other people, right? We live with or we're close to, right? We say he's like this or she's like this or he does this all the time, she does this all the time. We're very good at that, right? Because we're pattern studying machines, right? Our brain is always studying patterns, right? To pick up patterns.
yes,
So so but we don't do that to ourselves a lot of the
felt
time.
right. Yeah.
It's always that way,
Yeah.
right? So I'm
Yes.
saying when you can just turn it this way,
Hmm.
that's the first step. That's the awareness part. Like a lot of people, we don't think that that's a huge step. That's a huge strategy, just to look at ourselves and
Step
notice.
number one.
Yeah,
It's step number
notice.
one for us. It's step number one for us.
Yes,
Awareness. You can't go anywhere with it.
without it, yeah.
Yeah.
So just notice, just notice you're stuck. That's numbers, like just the feeling of
Yeah.
stuck. You're already good. You're starting to feel it now.
Mhm.
What is that stuck? Notice that. Where's that stuck? When is it coming up? In what areas is it coming up? What is happening before you feel that stuckness? Like what precedes before that? Like what is happening to trigger that stuckness, right? Like there's so many things I can start noticing and noticing and noticing. Quickly I will realize, oh, like it's like discovering, I'm discovering all of a sudden about
Mhm.
myself, right? It's beautiful when it happens and you're like, oh wow, I do have a lot of problem. I am stuck. Right? So I think that would be the first step. What else do you think would
Yes.
be? What else can they do? If
Uh,
they-
for me, my personal opinion is to write it down.
Of course,
Um, Maybe journal what's going on if you're not able to figure out what you're stuck on.
yes.
Just for some people, it's very easy. Every time I come here, I can't get this promotion. Why did they get the promotion and I don't? It could be something. Oh, I won't say that it's that simple, but that it could be something that's that noticeable.
Yes.
On another stuck for me, it was self-esteem. I knew, but I didn't know what to do with it.
Hmm.
So just because you notice it, now you have to figure out a plan for it. And so that could be the second part of it is to try to work through a plan and decide what am I going to do with this block that I have? How am I going to chip at it and break it apart?
Yes.
So
Notice, write it down. If you're not able to verbalize it, write it down. Writing is so good. Just dump everything. Don't have to form perfect sentence. Just have to dump it. Just write, write,
yes.
write, write, write. Just dump, brain dump. So what's the cost of ignoring readiness?
Oh, a lot. Staying stuck. It would be one. Not being able to well, the first thing I thought of was form relationships. Like your relationships are going to struggle with this because you're not you're not able to get past this, then everything is going to snowball into this chaos. It's always going to feel chaos. You're always going to have that little pit in your chest where it always feels tight from anxiety or worry in the back of your head. It's just going to stay there. And you're going to think you're going forward, and then you're going to end up finding yourself three steps back because you haven't dealt with that particular block, that the thing that's getting you stuck, whether it's the wall that you keep hitting or the bench you keep sitting on. I'm
Mhm.
going to pause here for a minute, but maybe it's not a wall, but you're just going to pause and I'll get up later, because I know that a lot of times it feels hard to move on. It feels weird to change. Sometimes you change like your daily routine. That's hard. Changing a friend or two, that's hard. Like there are different reasons why you have to do different things when you get unstuck. Just the breathing exercise is hard to remember to do that every day to start your day that way. Um, Whatever it is that you need to do to get unstuck, that's going to take practice and you can't beat yourself up over it. You have to give
Yeah.
yourself
And
grace.
also the readiness, another the cost of ignoring readiness is trying harder. If you're living a life trying hard and harder and harder,
Yeah,
I can
cycle.
add more up to that word. If you're trying so hard and hard and hard and hard, that's the sign.
Yeah.
Because you don't, life shouldn't be hard. Why should
No.
it be hard? Why is it hard? Just start asking that question. Why am I trying so hard? it should work. It should be pleasant. It should be it should be in harmony. It should flow. It should be it doesn't have to be easy, but it should flow. It should feel like it's flowing. But if it's
Right.
resisting, so much resistance, and I'm trying every single day, I'm trying harder than the day before, then that's the cost,
Th-
is trying
th-
harder.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
when does it stop? What's the stop to that, right? When is the hardest thing comes that I stop? Burnout,
Right.
depression, anxiety that I can no longer take, right? So, what is readiness for you, Coach Becky? Now that you're a coach.
Oh man. I'm a happier person. Um, it's a
There you
lot of
go.
so I've noticed that when I come across a problem, it's not I'm not I used to call it I'm having a freak out. So I would have some issue would come up and it was a very simple issue, whatever it was, it's just a little problem and it needed to be solved. But for me, it was almost as if I was treating it like it was the end of the world. Like, oh my gosh, I have this problem. And it's not. I'm like, it's a problem. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna move on. And so pivoting, I'm able to pivot a whole lot easier. I'm able to see the positive side and be more grateful in the different things that are going on. And I also notice my lessons quicker. So when I make a mistake, I don't get stuck in that mistake.
Mm,
I'm very hard on myself. I'm a perfectionist. So I
mm,
stay in those mistakes. And now I can find myself that I'm like, okay, that's a mistake. And I'm going to move on from that mistake and I'm going to keep going. I don't turn red. I don't get embarrassed. I don't shut down anymore. It's just that I just keep going. I'm like, okay, that was a mistake and we're going to move on and I'm going to fix it. I'm going to do better tomorrow.
yeah,
So,
that's that thing I talk about. It how fast we can pull ourselves from the past and the future and be here and now. The being
yes.
here and now is what creates all of that for you,
Yeah.
right? So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being here with me today. So I just want to
Thank you.
say it again. Coach Becky's article is in this magazine. If you haven't checked this magazine out, you have to check this issue because there's
Yes.
some gold in here for you. Every one of you should read it because our coaches actually shared what they had to unlearn and learn and know and remember to be the people they are today. You know, in order for us to live and lead and help others and help ourselves, we have to unlearn a lot of things, and we sometimes we don't know what to unlearn, right? So that's why if you read this, you can see the cycles that different people live through, right? We all have our loops. We all create our loops, right? So if you haven't read it yet, there's the link below this video. Please click the link and follow the link, and there will be a password as well. It's flow, all with capital. And if you're able to put that in, you'll access the free and rest of our magazine as well, all the issues. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another live tomorrow. But make sure to check this out. Thank you, Becky, Coach
Bye.
Becky, for
Thank you,
being here.
Kahila.
Thank you so much.